بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, respected Huffaz, ulama, Hujjaj, our viewers and listeners, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we send salutations to our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My dear brothers and sisters, very briefly this evening, the reflection is about the amana, the responsibility that you and I have as those who remain here. So what am I referring to? I'm reflecting on, alhamdulillah, I think all of us, everyone in this masjid, and those listening and those watching, there are people who were in our families who sort of kept the families together. And maybe it's our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, who ensured families were in line and they pleased Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's been a series of losses in the last few months. Many families within this masjid, our community, who have lost family members. In Ramadan, there were a number of individuals who passed away. Recently also in my family, my in-laws, my uncle passed away a few hours ago in Cape Town. May Allah grant him Jannah. And there's been losses across the board. So my reflection tonight is firstly an appreciation for all those who led families, our parents and grandparents who made sure that we went to madrasa or maktab or Malay school, whatever they did to prioritize deen in the homes. May Allah accept all those efforts from them. May Allah grant them Jannatul Firdaus. But what is the amana, the responsibility of those who remain? It's twofold. As people have been asking in the last few days in Ramadan, one brother from this masjid who also lost a parent asked me, what's my duty now? My parent is in the qabr, what's my duty? It's a very good question. What is the amana that remains? It's twofold. The first is that we have a duty to make dua for those who have passed on. And it doesn't stop on the day of the janazah, or with 3 nights or whatever, Yar Khatal, we have these various customs. But dua does not stop at a particular moment, and it's not confined to a particular moment. So if anyone has passed on in your family, the responsibility, amana that you have is that you make dua. Because our beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam highlighted that of the best things that a person who has passed on can leave behind is, walad salih yad'u lahu. It is pious offspring that make dua for that individual, that the deceased can still benefit from that dua. So have a habit. I don't know if you noted that in the Jumu'ah khutbah, the Arabic khutbah, you often find that when the khatib closes the khutbah, he makes dua, for everyone present. May Allah forgive everyone present. وَلِوَالِدَيَّ. And the Khatib says, and oh Allah, forgive all of our parents. وَلِجَمِيعَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And all the Muslimin. Have you heard that in the khutbah? And so the Khatib says weekly, may Allah forgive our parents, which captures our parents and grandparents and everyone. But that is the first amana, that we make dua for our deceased. And we don't stop making dua for them. Don't wait for an occasion or an arwah or a moment. Make dua for them. And then the second, my dear brother and sister, is what is the amana that we have? The amana that we have as well is that we must look after our families. I attended a janazah recently and I noted that it's a point of concern, of course, as an imam, that when it comes to those assisting with the rites of the mayyit and Janazah Salah preparations and the recitations that must occur, it is highly evident that it is missing a younger layer. And I said to one senior Imam in our city, I'm worried about the future if we are still dependent on Imams over 60, over 70. Because that means it hasn't transitioned to a lower group. And so I'm reflecting on what are our families doing, what are you doing in your family? And like those who have passed on, looked after your family, maybe it has been a parent or a grandparent, what are you doing in your family? How are you looking after your family so that when Allah decrees your time comes and my time comes, that they know what to do, that they know how to make dua, that they know the procedures. And of course, it's not a moment of death. It is about what is the responsibility now. So a reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tells us that Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. That protect yourselves and your families from Jahannam. And so this must be a concern, a reminder to myself and everyone, inshallah. What are we doing in our families to protect them? To ensure Islam continues on to their offspring. Are we ensuring they are in the madrasa? Are we ensuring they are in the maktab? Are we looking after them? And some of the areas that we must focus on, my dear brother and sister, is about the Islam that is lived in the homes. Not the Islam in the masjid, but the Islam in the homes. How do we get the family aligned? Because if a home is not secured, we cannot expect anything in the community to be secured. If parents aren't ensuring, I ask myself, how many parents check that their children recite appropriately before they sleep? Something as simple as the Shahada. We're so preoccupied and busy, but Islam must not be lost with us. The priority must be, inshallah, in our homes. My dear brother and sister, reminder to myself and everyone, ensure that your family, your flock, your spouse, your children are learning about Islam, are getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is your amanah. So we said the amanas are twofold. You make dua for the deceased, and you also ensure that the legacy of your parent or your grandparent, that they battled, they went against major forces and influences to ensure Islam is prevailing and persisting in the family. So we take on that amanah now. So my dear brother and sister, may Allah guide us in our role to lead our families and to ensure that they are safe from Jahannam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam alayhi wa alhamdulillah.